Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to today's reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We're reading from Adi Lila, chapter 7. We're reading from verse 93 onwards. Mukam karoti vachalam pungum lankaite girim. Yat kripa tamam vande Shri Gurum Deen Tarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Dasa. Saying this, my spiritual master taught me a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. It is the essence of all the Bhagavatam's instructions. Therefore, he recited this verse again and again. Purport: this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.40 was spoken by Sri Narad Muni to Vasudeva to teach him about the Bhagavad Dharma. Vasudeva had already achieved the result of Bhagavad Dharma because Lord Krishna appeared in his house as his son. Yet in order to teach others, he desired to hear from Sri Narad Muni to be enlightened in the process of Bhagavad Dharma. This is the humbleness of a great devotee. Verse 94. When a person is actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, who is very dear to him, he is agitated and loudly chants the holy name. He also laughs, cries, becomes agitated and chants just like a madman, not caring for outsiders. Verse 95 to 96, translation: I firmly believe in these words of my spiritual master, and therefore I always chant the holy name of the Lord, alone and in the association of devotees. That holy name of Lord Krishna sometimes causes me to chant and dance, and therefore I chant and dance. Please do not think that I intentionally do it. I do it automatically. Purport: a person who cannot keep his faith in the words of his spiritual master but acts independently never receives the authority to chant the holy name of the Lord. It is said in the Vedas, in the Shweta Avatar Upanishad 6.23, Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha gurau tasyate kathita hi artha prakashante mahatmanaha. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. This Vedic injunction is very important, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu supported it by his personal behavior. Believing in the words of his spiritual master, he introduced the Sankirtan movement, just as the present Krishna consciousness movement was started with belief in the words of our spiritual master. He wanted to preach, we believed in his words and tried somehow or other to fulfill them, and now this movement has become successful all over the world. Therefore, faith in the words of the spiritual master and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the secret of success. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never disobeyed the orders of his spiritual master and stopped propagating the Sankirtan movement. Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami at the time of his passing away ordered all his disciples to work conjointly to preach the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world. Later, however, some self-interested foolish disciples disobeyed his orders. Each one of them wanted to become head of the mission, and they fought in the courts. Neglecting the order of the spiritual master, and the entire mission was defeated. We are not proud of this. However, the truth must be explained. We believed in the words of our spiritual master and started in a humble way, in a helpless way. But due to spiritual force of the order of the Supreme Authority, this movement has become successful. It is to be understood that when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted and danced, he did so by the influence of the pleasure potency of the spiritual world. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never considered the holy name of the Lord to be a material vibration, nor does any pure devotee mistake the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra to be a material musical manifestation. Lord Chaitanya never tried to be the master of the holy name, rather he taught us how to be servants of the holy name. If one chants the holy name of the Lord just to make a show, not knowing the secret of success, he may increase his bile secretion, but he will never attain perfection in chanting the holy name. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu represented himself in this way: I am a great fool and do not have knowledge of right and wrong in order to understand the real meaning of the Vedanta Sutra. I never followed the explanation of the Shankar Sampradaya or Mayavadi sannyasis. I am very much afraid of the illogical arguments of the Mayavadi philosophers. Therefore, I think I have no authority regarding their explanations of the Vedanta Sutra. I firmly believe that simply chanting the holy name of the Lord can remove all misconceptions of the material world. I believe that simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can attain the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. In this age of quarrel and disagreement, the chanting of the holy names is the only way to liberation from the material clutches. By chanting the holy name, Lord Chaitanya continued, I became almost mad. However, after inquiring from my spiritual master, I have come to the conclusion that instead of striving for achievement in the four principles of religiosity, dharma, economic development, artha, sense gratification, kama, and liberation, moksha, it is better if somehow or other one develops transcendental love of Godhead. That is the greatest success in life. One who has attained love of Godhead chants and dances by his nature, not caring for the public. This stage of life is known as Bhagavad Jivana, or the life of a devotee. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, I never chanted and danced to make an artificial show. I dance and chant because I firmly believe in the words of my spiritual master. Although the Mayavadi philosophers do not like this chanting and dancing, I nevertheless perform it on the strength of his words. Therefore, it is to be concluded that I deserve very little credit for these activities of chanting and dancing, for they are being done automatically by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Verse 97, compared to the ocean of the transcendental bliss that one tastes by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, the pleasure derived from impersonal Brahman realization, Brahmananda, is like the shallow water in a canal. Purport: in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.38, it is stated, Brahmanando bhaved esha chet parardha gunikritaha naiti bhakti sukham bhodeha parmano tulam api. If Brahmananda, the transcendental bliss derived from the understanding impersonal Brahman, were multiplied 1,000,000 times, such a quantity of Brahmananda could not compare with even an atomic portion of the pleasure relished in pure devotional service. Verse 98, my dear Lord, O Master of the universe, since I have directly seen you, my transcendental bliss has taken the shape of a great ocean. Being situated in that ocean, I now realize all other so-called happiness to be like the water contained in the hoofprint of a calf. Purport: the transcendental bliss enjoyed in pure devotional service is like an ocean, whereas material happiness and even the happiness to be derived from the realization of impersonal Brahman are just like the water in the hoofprint of a calf. This is the verse from Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya. Verse 99, after hearing Lord Chaitanya's, all the Mayavadi sannyasis were moved, their minds changed, and they thus spoke with pleasing words. Purport: the Mayavadi sannyasis met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Varanasi to criticize the Lord regarding his participation in the Sankirtan movement, which they did not like. This demonic nature of opposition to the Sankirtan movement perpetually exists, as it existed in the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Similarly, it existed long before that, even in the time of Prahlad Maharaj. He used to chant in Sankirtan, although his father did not like it, and that was the reason of the misunderstanding between the father and the son. In Bhagavad Gita 7.15, the Lord says, Namam dushkritino mudha prapadyante naradhamaha mayaya bharita jnana asuram bhavam ashrita. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons do not surrender unto me. The Mayavadi sannyasis are Asuram Bhavam Ashrita, which means that they have taken the path of the Asuras who do not believe in the existence of the form of the Lord. The Mayavadis say that the ultimate source of everything is impersonal, and in this way they deny the existence of God. Saying that there is no God is direct denial of God, and saying that God exists but has no head, legs, or hands, cannot speak, hear, or eat is a negative way of denying his existence. A person who cannot see is called blind, one who cannot walk is called lame, one who has no hands is called helpless, one who cannot speak is called dumb, and one who cannot hear is called deaf. The Mayavadis' proposition that God has no legs, no eyes, no ears, and no hands is an indirect way of insulting him by defining him as blind, deaf, dumb, lame, helpless, etc. Therefore, although they present themselves as great Vedantists, they are factually Maya Parita Jnana. In other words, they seem to be very learned scholars, but the essence of the knowledge has been taken away. Impersonalist Mayavadis always try to defy Vaishnavas because Vaishnavas accept the Supreme Personality as the supreme cause and want to serve him, talk with him, and see him, just as the Lord is also eager to see his devotees and talk, eat, and dance with them. These personal exchanges of love do not appeal to the Mayavadi sannyasis. Therefore, the original purpose of the Mayavadi sannyasis of Vrindavan thus became friendly and spoke to him also in sweet words. Similarly, all preachers will have to meet opponents, but they should not make them more inimical. They are already enemies, and if we talk with them harshly or impolitely, their enmity will merely increase. We should therefore follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as far as possible and try to convince the opposition by quoting from the Shastras and presenting the conclusion of the Acharyas. It is in this way that we should try to defeat all the enemies of the Lord. Verse 100. Dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what have you said is all true. Only one who is favored by fortune attains love of Godhead. Purport. One who is actually very fortunate can begin Krishna consciousness as stated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Srila Goswami. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Lila, chapter 19, verse 151. There are millions of living entities who have become conditioned by the laws of material nature, and they are wandering throughout the planetary systems of this universe in different bodily forms. Among them, one who is fortunate meets the bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna and comes to understand the meaning of devotional service. By discharging devotional service under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master or Acharya, he develops love of Godhead. One whose love of Godhead, Krishna Prema, is awakened and who thus becomes a devotee of the inconceivable Supreme Personality of Godhead is to be considered extremely fortunate. The Mayavadi sannyasis admitted this fact to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is not easy for one to become a Krishna conscious person, but by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu it can be possible, as will be proven in the course of this narration. Verse 101. Dear sir, there is no objection to your being a great devotee of Lord Krishna. Everyone is satisfied with this, but why do you avoid discussion on the Vedanta Sutra? What is the fault in it? Purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments in this connection. Mayavadi sannyasis accept that the commentary by Sri Shankaracharya, known as Sharirak Bhashya, gives the real meaning of the Vedanta Sutra. In other words, Mayavadi sannyasis accept the meanings expressed in the explanations of the Vedanta Sutra by Shankaracharya, which are based on monism. Thus, they explain the Vedanta Sutra, the Upanishads, and all such Vedic literatures in their own impersonal way. The great Mayavadi sannyasi Sadananda Yogindra has written a book known as Vedanta Sar. in which he writes, Vedanto Nama Upanishad Pramanam Tad Upkarini Sharirak Sutradini Cha. According to Sadananda Yogendra, the Vedanta Sutra and Upanishads as presented by Sri Shankaracharya in his Sharirak Bhashya commentary are the only source of Vedic evidence. Actually, however, Vedanta refers to the essence of Vedic knowledge, and it is not a fact that there is nothing more than Shankaracharya's Sharirak Bhashya. There are other Vedanta commentaries written by Vaishnavacharyas, none of whom follow Sri Shankaracharya or accept the imaginative commentary of his school. Their commentaries are based on the philosophy of duality. Monist philosophers like Shankaracharya and his followers want to establish that God and the living entity are one, and instead of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they present themselves as God. They want to be worshipped as God by others. Such persons do not accept the philosophies of the Vaishnava Acharyas, which are known as Shuddha Advaita, purified monism. Shuddha Dvaita means purified dualism. So the Vaishnava Acharyas, they are Shuddha Advaita, and the Shuddha Dvaita and Shuddha, which is purified monism, Shuddha Dvaita, which is purified dualism, Vishishta Advaita, which is specific monism, Dvaita Advaita, monism and dualism, and Achinta Bheda, unconceivable oneness and difference. Mayavadis do not discuss these philosophies, for they are firmly convinced of their own philosophy of Kevala Advaita, exclusive monism. Accepting this system of philosophy as the pure understanding of the Vedanta Sutra, they believe that Krishna has a body made of material elements and that the activities of loving service to Krishna are sentimentality. They are known as Mayavadis because according to their opinion, Krishna has a body made of Maya, and their loving service of the Lord executed by devotees is also Maya. They consider such devotional service to be an aspect of fruitive activities, karmakanda. According to their view, bhakti consists of mental speculation or sometimes meditation. This is the difference between the Mayavadi and Vaishnava philosophies. I'll repeat this. So according to the Mayavadis, they are called Mayavadis because their opinion is that Krishna has a body made of Maya, and the loving service of the Lord executed by the devotees is also Maya. And devotional service is considered by them to be an aspect of fruitive activities, which is karmakand. And they think that the bhakti consists of mental speculation or sometimes meditation. Whereas the Vaishnavas, they discuss the various philosophies like Shuddha Advaita, purified monism, Shuddha Advaita, purified dualism, Vishishta Advaita, specific monism, Dvaita Advaita, monism and dualism, and Achintya Bheda, inconceivable oneness and difference. So we will continue our reading from here onwards next time. Thank you for joining. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.